Hello and welcome to today's video. This is going to be my 2023 reading goals video. So essentially these are all the goals I'm setting myself in terms of my reading for the next year. It's as simple as that really. I am literally just going to be talking about them straight from my reading journal. This video should probably be up by now. I'm guessing I'll have managed to edit it. I'll link it up above if it is up. But yeah, in my reading journal I've got a goals page, and I've also made like a goals bingo board which has a lot of the same goals from the first goals page up, but then also has like a few extra ones to make it a bit easier to actually hit a bingo. So yeah, I'm going to go through all of that today. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 official reading goals, and then I also have 9 spaces on my bingo board, but some of those are like duplicated. So yeah, let's just get into it. Every year I always try and set myself a few reading goals. I don't always hit them, but I think they're fun to try and hit and to try and figure out. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I think I did about 50% of my goals last year during 2022, so every year if I can hit a few more then that's great. And then I also wanted to gamify it a bit, so I added in the bingo board component to try and push me to do some of the more difficult goals from my goals page, but also add some simple ones in as well. So yeah, I do have this all set up, so let's just talk about them. So my first goal of 2023 is to read blank books. Now the reason this is blank books is because as I'm filming this it is currently the 13th of December. So if I read no more books in 2022, my goal for 2023 will be 162 books. And obviously that's not realistic. I'm going to read at least a couple more books between now and the end of the year. But basically my reading goal for 2023 is how many books I've read in 2022 plus 1. So right now I've read 161 books, so for 2023 I'd aim to read 162. I'm guessing I'll read around 166 by the end of the year. So my goal for 2023 will be around 167. Obviously I won't know the exact number literally until like midnight on the 31st. So yeah, that is goal number 1, but I don't have an exact number yet. Then goal number 2 is to read 12 classics. This is pushing myself quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie, but I think 12 classics, that's 1 a month. That should hopefully be doable. I've got a few smaller classics as well, some like more like pocket book size ones, so I'm hoping I can do it. Even if I just read only pocket book, that's still better than what I've done this year. So yeah, I just want to up the amount of classics I'm reading, and I own a lot because I buy so many of my books from charity shops. You can often find classics in there, so I picked them up with the intention to reading them, but I haven't actually been reading them. So I think giving myself the goal of reading 12 should be good, should get me down a bit, and maybe even help me figure out a bit more what I like and what I dislike in classics to narrow down what I'm actually buying. Then goal number 3 is to read 12 non-fiction books. Now this isn't as much of a push because this year I've read 10. In 2022 I've read 10 non-fiction, so I think just pushing it to 12, making it 1 a month, or like the equivalent to 1 a month, it's just going to give me that extra push. But I would also like them to be more of the non-fiction type books where they are informational in like an educational way, because of the 10 I've read this year, 4 of them have been biographies, which like I've enjoyed and like is great, but I want to try and prioritise the actual like non-fiction that I own of like the nerdy things that I'm interested in basically. If I own it I should read it, so that's just a little push. 12 non-fiction should be doable. I don't see any reason how I wouldn't hit that, but I think having it as a goal will ensure that I actually read them rather than be like, oh yeah, maybe. Then my goal number 4 is to read 6 books on my 30 before 30 list. I had this goal in 2022 as well. This is not one that I hit, but I decided to keep it the same. I didn't want to up the amount I need to read. But yeah, when I was 25, I created a list of 30 books that I wanted to read before I reached 30, which equates to 6 a year if I was reading evenly. So yeah, 6 of those books I want to read. There's some easy ones on there, there's some ones that I definitely know I will read next year. Like I really want to get around to reading The Hobbit soon, and that's one of them that's on there. So like I know I will get to some of them for definite this year, but let's try and aim for 6. That's 1 every 2 months. Should be doable, maybe. Hey, who knows? Then goal number 5 is to finish 5 series that I started in 2022. So essentially, you know, I start a lot of series. I often need a bit of a push to finish them. So out of all the series that I started during 2022, I need to try and finish 5 of those series by the end of 2023, which should be doable, to be honest. I started quite a few duologies in 2022, so that's only 1 more book. And I've also just naturally been doing that over a year. 5 series isn't that much to finish in a year for me, but making sure they are the series I've already started and not binging a new series because I got really into it is quite important, because that's how I tend to finish series, by just like binging them all in one go. So we'll see. Then goal number 6 is for every 2 books that I read to only buy 1. So essentially this is to get me to buy less books. So I tried to do it last year for every 3 books that I read to only buy 1. It didn't work out, it wasn't enough for me. Which sounds stupid, I know, but it wasn't, I struggled. So yeah, for this year, for 2023, I can only buy a book if I've read 2 books. So January 1st, if I read 2 books on January 1st, I'll be able to buy 1 book in 2023. If in the first week of January I read 4 books, I'd be allowed to buy 2 books in 2023. Like, very simple. Basically, it will hopefully be a way to lower my TBR shelves, and you know, I'll be getting 2 books off of them and putting them on my like red shelves down here and only putting 1 on. And you know, like, I don't have to buy a book for every 2. If I'm not interested, if I buy less, that's also great. But I think it's a goal to stay under. Like, if I read 100 books in a year, only buying 50, for me, because I have so many on my TBR right now, that would be ideal. Or less than 50, also ideal. So then goal number 7 is to read more diversely, and I've kind of put this down to less white, less straight. Yeah, I've read a lot of big chunky series this year that have been by white people with straight storylines. I just want to make sure that I'm diversifying that a bit. I mean, I feel like I read what I fancy. You know, like, I don't always look at authors. Like, often when I fill in my spreadsheet after I've finished a book, I know nothing about the author. I don't know their gender, I don't know their ethnicity, I don't know the nationality, like none of it. Like, that's not something I look at. But I think I just need to be a bit more aware of it when buying books, and aware of like what I'm bringing in, because it seems silly to have, you know, such a large percentage of people be white. Like 80, as of right now, 84.5% of the books that I read this year were by white people. That's crazy. Like, how does that work? Think of all the people around the world. How does that work? Like, it just doesn't, and I need to be more aware of it, and it's something I want to be conscious of, so I'm setting it as a goal. Then goal number 8 is to complete my monthly TBRs. Pretty simple, but I do struggle with it. I often set TBRs and read a couple of books from them, and then, especially through the series in that TBR, I often end up just mood reading the entire series. I often just end up picking up random books when I shouldn't. I need to, if I put a book on my TBR, I need to read it. If I'm not interested in reading it, maybe give it a second chance, but then unhaul it. Like, it shouldn't still be on my TBR if I'm not reading it when it's on my official TBR. And then my 9th goal is to lower my unread books to a single stack of 8 office shelves. So let me explain that a bit more. All of my unread books I keep up in the office, and I have 2 like half height mini bookcases. On each bookcase there's 4 shelves, but a lot of those shelves are double stacked, and I also take up the top of the shelves as well, and also 2 like little wall shelves in the office. That's like all of my unread books. By the end of 2023, I want it to just be contained to 1 single stacked layer on the bookcases. Like, I don't want them expanding everywhere else. Should be doable, especially if I keep myself accountable for how many books I'm buying compared to reading, but it's a goal that I want. Like, I've kind of allowed my books to overflow, and they are kind of getting all around the house now, and it's not just me that lives here, so I need to be conscious of that, and I need to make sure they don't keep expanding. I need to lower them back down to those shelves. I brought 2 shelves purposely for my TBR books. I knew that was their purpose when I got them. The TBR needs to stay on those shelves. So yeah. that was the final goal. But now we do have one more like bit to go through, and that is my bingo board. I'll create a digital version and put it here somewhere. But essentially I'm just going to tell you the goals, top row, middle row, bottom row, and I'll go as you read, so starting at your left, ending at the right. So the first goal on the bingo board is to read from an Indigenous author. In 2022, I think I've only read one book by an Indigenous author. And obviously read from, like, that's only one on this goal, but doing one, like purposely doing one, like I just think it's a good thing to do. I need to read more. As I've already said in the previous one, I want to read more diversity. It's just something I'm interested in. And I think both fiction and non-fiction wise, it's something I'm interested in. So that is the first bingo board prompt. Prompt number 2 is to read 12 non-fiction. As I said, this is already on the goals for the entire year. It's just also been put on the bingo board. Goal number 3 is to read a thriller. I've realised even though I've read a lot of like the mystery, murder, thriller, horror genre this year, none of them have actually been thrillers. So in 2023, I want to read at least one thriller. Goal number 4 is to read a historical fiction. I have a lot of resistance about picking up my historical fiction, so hopefully by making sure I pick at least one up, it'll help me pick more up. Goal number 5 is to hit my Goodreads goal. Pretty self-explanatory. Read the amount of books I set on Goodreads. Goal number 6 is to read from a self-published author. I think, you know, it's important to read self-published, but I do find it more difficult to know what I'm getting. And obviously, you know, there might not be an editor sometimes. There might not be like other people helping. I think there is a bit of a stigma around it though, and I think a lot of self-published books can be great, so I just want to make sure that I am reading them. Goal number 7 is to read 12 classics, the exact same as the yearly goals, just on the bingo board. Goal number 8 is to read an 800+ page book. This is insane, but I want it on there because there's at least 3 books that have been on my TBR for a couple of years now that I haven't read because of how long they are. So hopefully at least one of those will get completed this year. And then goal number 9 is to read 6 Shakespeare books. I've been slowly collecting loads of Shakespeare, loads of plays. I haven't been reading them, so that is a goal to actually read at least 6 of them. So yeah, that is all of the goals. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any goals or any interesting like things that you're setting yourself for 2023, do let me know in the comments down below. Give the video a like if you like it. Subscribe down below for more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.